This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome, everybody, to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We have a lot to talk about today. I am your host, as always, Jeff Maloff, and with me is my partner in crime, Mark Souza. We're going to be talking about Thursday Night Football and the most unexpected breakout performance, I think, of the year, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Big performance from Derrick Henry last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the fact of the matter is that we had also the Jaguars basically ending their season there and just it's almost like a tank.
Yeah, I mean, their season was already over, though. Now they're 4-9, but they get closer to that number one pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, we also are going to be looking at NBA. Well, some games happening yesterday we'll go over, as well as all the games that are going to be happening Sunday in the NFL.
How about that Heisman talk?
And also the Heisman talk. Thank you for reminding me. We also have a very important Heisman talk to talk about. And then, but we'll start with Thursday Night Football. We got to actually go into detail about this game because there is actually some importance to it because the Titans might be able to sneak into a playoff spot after this victory over Jacksonville. They won this game in a surprising 30-9 blowout. And when I say surprising, this team is averaging less than 20 points a game, and this team just literally ran all over Jacksonville. Derrick Henry, 17 attempts, 238 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He had that 99-yard touchdown where he stiff-armed like 3 guys and scored with ease. And he had more rushing yards than Mariota had passing yards.
Yeah, he had a huge game. I mean, he's been a guy who's struggled all season, hasn't really found his form, and all of a sudden he sets the Titans' franchise record for rushing yards in game with 238 yards, and he scores 4 times. So, I mean, he was the offense last night. Mariota didn't have to do much.
And he broke the franchise record. And remember, Chris Johnson had a 2,000-yard season, and he beat one of his single-game rushing yards. That's incredible to me.
Yeah, that 99-yard touchdown run was fun just because he didn't really outrun anybody.
No, it wasn't like he was speeding. He was running people over.
Even though you could say that he definitely grabbed the face mask of A.J. Bouye.
Nah, what are you going to do?
Throw a flag.
Let's not ruin a 99-yard touchdown, please.
Yeah, well, he did. He got away with it. But,
yeah.
It was fun.
But, yeah, it was a fun game to watch. If you're a Titans fan, if you're a Jaguars fan, you're wishing it was last year again because you were in the AFC Championship game. I would say a couple plays away even from being a Super Bowl team.
Absolutely. And I think yesterday was kind of the play or the sequence that epitomized the season for them was they get stuffed trying to score on 4 downs at the goal line. They can't get it in. Next play, Derrick Henry, 99 yards, touchdown. It's like that's a huge 14-point swing, and that's basically what the season has been for the Jaguars up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact of the matter is the Titans have life when it comes to the playoffs. They have a heartbeat still.
They definitely do. They control their own destiny. I mean, if they win the rest of their games, they'll be in.
Isn't that incredible to think about? And because they kind of started really sloppy this season. Well, not little. They did start sloppy this season.
They've been so weird. They've beat the Patriots. You've seen them get destroyed by some teams that they should beat.
They're inconsistent is a nice way of putting it.
I mean, if you look at their season so far, I mean, they lost to the Dolphins. They beat the Texans. Now, albeit this was the beginning of the year, the Texans were 0-3. But still, they beat the Jaguars. They beat the Eagles. They lose to the Bills. No one understands how that happens. They lose to the Ravens, but then they lose by 1 point to the Chargers. That game was over across the pond. They come back from that game and really lay a hammer to Dallas. and then they smack the Patriots. But then after that, what happens? They get blown out by the Colts. They get blown out by the Texans. They squeak by the Jets. Then last night happened. So, I mean, you look at their schedule, and it's like, man, they've beaten some impressive teams. And then you look at some of their games, and you scratch your head like, how is this team good? We still don't know if this team is good, right?
Yeah.
We have no idea.
No clue.
We're 13 games into their season, and I couldn't tell you more about them today than I could have at the beginning of the season.
I agree with you on that one. It's so hard to figure this team out. They basically are a blank face, you know what I mean? Just like you can't read them.
If we do our power rankings, top 5, bottom 5, but if we did our full 32, and I feel like me and you could be 7 or 8 spots different on this team. Like, I feel
yeah.
like it would make sense. Like, it wouldn't be like, really. I'd just be like, okay. Like,
yeah.
That makes sense.
And also, you're looking at, like, even if we had those different spots, we would both, like, agree with each other. Like, yeah, that would make sense.
It's like I look at this team, and I'm like, I don't know if Mariota's good. I don't know if Henry's good. I don't know if this defense is good. I just don't know. So, yeah, but you know what? When you look at their schedule, Jeff, they play their next 3 to end the season. They play the Giants, they play the Redskins, and they play the Colts. Now, 2 of those games are at home. The last 2, the Redskins and the Colts. I think they got to win. They win at least 2 of those, in my opinion. So they're at least 9-7.
But will that give them a playoff spot? That's where the question lies. This is a big question.
I think it will, but we're not really sure yet. It all has to do with how Baltimore and Pittsburgh finish, in my opinion. Baltimore, if they can keep winning, then maybe Tennessee wouldn't control their own destiny. But I still feel like Tennessee will have that capability because Baltimore plays a little bit tougher schedule. They play the Chiefs this week, and they play the Chargers.
And those 2 teams are not easy to beat by a long shot.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, the Baltimore game and the Kansas City game, we could probably look at and say those are 2 losses. They're both on the road, and Lamar Jackson's playing. So, like, it's really hard for me to envision that team winning 2 road games against 2 teams like that, 2 offenses like that on the road.
I'm not going to lie. I don't have a clue how this season's going to end up for either team, for like the AFC, especially in the playoffs.
I think Tennessee might just get in just because they don't have the tough schedule like Baltimore does. Like, I think Baltimore's a better team. You know?
I know who's going to be in the AFC, don't get me wrong, but like when it comes to like the wild card spots, who knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
What about Jacksonville? Now that we know that they're heading to most likely a double-digit loss season, I think for them, their biggest question is, do they move on from Bortles this year? Do they draft a quarterback with their first pick? And if they do they move up and get that guy? Because we know that there's a couple teams that are looking at quarterbacks that possibly will finish ahead of them in the draft order.
Well, I understand they got him a contract this offseason, but since they benched him for Cody Kessler, it feels like they gave up on him. So he is gone, in my opinion. But
yeah, you can't go back, I don't think.
Drafting a quarterback might not be the solution. I think maybe a free agent, whoever's available.
I think RG3 is the most credible free agent that'll hit the market. It looks like there's no Kirk Cousins like last year. How like even a guy like Case Keenum last year was like a decent option. Like
he took a team to 13-3.
Yeah, but I don't think that there's a player like that in this offseason that the Jaguars could actually go after that would be an upgrade, you know?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if you draft a quarterback, this isn't a very highly touted quarterback draft class. Like, Justin Herbert, of course. But honestly, it's not a class of deep offensive players. This is a defensive draft, and they need a quarterback. I think, it's one of those things where, like, maybe give Bortles a chance. This is honestly just a guess, but it's just like
is
no, he's not leaving the Saints.
He's a free agent. I'm saying, like,
I feel like the Saints will re-sign him. They traded for him this season from the Jets, and I think they did that because they knew Drew Brees' limits.
But But it's his decision. They're not going to franchise tag.
No, of course not. But
so he's probably going to want to test the market, though. He's probably going to want to be like, well, hey, if a team gives me a lot of money and gives me a chance to be the starter,
but what are the Jaguars going to pay him? What's the most you're going to get out of that?
Well, I know that his deal for this year is $7 million, and that was to be a backup for the Jets. I could see a team giving Bridgewater, I don't know,
10?
like a 2-year, $26 million contract where he makes $13 million a season.
Doesn't sound like a lot, but in reality, it's really not that much.
It's a quarterback. Like, yeah, I mean, it would be a lot if it was another position. But it's
I'm not going to lie. The most I would give him would be 10.
But even still, if you're him, do you take that money? Because I probably do.
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Like, what is the most? What are the Saints going to pay? Like, that's what I.
10 years, $100 million. Who would make that? I mean, who would make that deal? I mean, come on.
If you're looking at the Jaguars, I mean, let's be realistic. This team has fallen flat on their face this year, but they have a pretty good team. Their defense has got really good players on it. Now I know they got crushed last night, but let's not be a prisoner of the moment.
Yeah, I think
we know that they have a good defense.
This is just a what's it called? It's just I wouldn't call it a fluke year. I would call it one of those years you just landed on your face and you couldn't get up.
Yeah, I mean,
or like
you see it in the NFL, teams will start off poorly and then kind of just have that bad run, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a 4-9 season.
Yeah, you're climbing the ladder, you're getting up to the top, and you fell. That's what happened this season. And you fell at a bottom rung, though. You kind of slipped on a banana peel there.
Hey, you know what? There is a quarterback that could be on his way to Jacksonville named Eli Manning.
No,
like a stopgap solution.
If Eli Manning's not going to be a Giant, he's going to be retired.
I'll tell you right now.
I know Tom Coughlin is in Jacksonville, but no way is Eli Manning going to Jacksonville.
I'll just say right now that I'd rather have Eli for next year than Bortles for next year.
That's a bold statement, sir.
Well, okay, so this is what happens. If you keep Bortles, you're kind of hindering your ability to go get someone else. If you go get Eli in free agency, I'm reminding you, you probably don't have to pay anything for him because he's going to be done with the Giants. So you go get him in free agency. Then you draft a quarterback. You don't have to do it with your first pick, but maybe you like a kid in the second or third round. Maybe there's some upside there. You go get somebody to sit behind Eli for a year, and then from there, kind of make that transition. Maybe a couple years. I don't know. Eli probably isn't going to play more than one more year if he plays at all, but you just never know, But like, would you rather go back to Bortles? I wouldn't. I don't know.
The Jaguars are in a rock and a hard place right now. I think we both agree on that. And whatever choice they make, it's going to lead to some backlash. I don't think there's a decision that's an obvious choice here. This is like, you pick between Eli Manning, who's a meme. Let's get real. Like, his face is now a meme. And Blake Bortles, who is now, would you call him a joke or a laughingstock? Or he is Bortles? He's the butt of a lot of jokes, though.
He just is an underwhelming quarterback.
Yeah. He's not a starter. And whoever you choose, you're going to get a lot of disagreements on ESPN and Fox Sports and all that other stuff. And it's just one of those things in where there is no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's just you got to come up with an answer.
So why don't we transition to talking about this weekend's Heisman race? We're going to have the trophy awarded to one of three men. We know who they are.
Do you want to bet if it's going to be a quarterback or another position?
Oh, it'll be a quarterback since they're the only ones invited to the party. Tua Tagovailoa, Kyler Murray, and Dwayne Haskins. So Tua from Alabama, Kyler from Oklahoma, and Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State. Those are your three. Who do you think will take home the trophy?
A lot of people are saying Kyle Murray. A lot of people are saying Tua just because he won the Player of the Year, which makes sense. I know Ohio State's quarterback is also one of those guys that could make it, but I think I gotta go with Kyle Murray.
I think it's going to be Kyler Murray, too. I don't even think it's going to be close, to be honest with you.
Because of how well he has played.
And you know what? I think Tua had a strong argument, but after seeing Jalen Hurts play, it kind of hurt his argument, I think. Like, when you see not that it's his fault, it's just unfortunate. You know what I mean?
It's just bad luck.
Like, you saw a dude's backup go in there and kill it, and you're like, okay, well, maybe Tua is good, but how much is he? How valuable is he to Alabama? Like Kyler Murray is to Oklahoma, Because I don't know if anybody can do what Kyler can do with that offense. I mean, Tua is a great athlete. Don't get me wrong. Haskins is phenomenal. We're not even talking about Haskins. I think he'll finish third, but he's had an incredible season too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is one of those things in where each guy you can give a great argument that they're going to win.
Yeah,
and
Haskins leads the country in passing yards. Murray is third. Tua is 14. Completion percentage. Kyler edges out both the guys barely. Passing touchdowns, Haskins 47, Murray 40, Tua 37. Yards per attempt, Kyler Murray wins there. Total rushing yards, though, is a huge one. Total rushing yards, Kyler Murray has 892 rushing yards. Tua has 190. Haskins has 122. There's a big, big gap there. And really, it kind of speaks to the way that Kyler Murray plays. I mean, they're all phenomenal athletes. We're talking about maybe the three best athletes in college football, to be honest with you. But, man, Kyler Murray, for me, is your Heisman Award winner. And you agree with that?
Yeah. And I think it's just they're also made the playoff. They got that final spot, which also helps his case.
It's going to be a fun game to see Kyler go up against Tua, even though I think Tua has a much superior team. I want to see Kyler against that defense. I really do. And you know what? A kid like Kyler who might be playing baseball, he's deciding his future. If he really lights up Alabama, maybe he changes his mind. Maybe he goes in the NFL draft.
Maybe, but I mean, are you allowed to change your mind? Like that soon or that close to the draft? Like it's pretty close, all things considered, is it not?
He what do you mean? The NFL draft?
Yeah.
I think you have to decide by he has a couple months.
He does.
You can decide by
2 minutes before the draft. I commit.
It really is like a week or two before the draft.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's just like I always think that's a complicated situation as well.
I mean, he said he's going to report to spring training, and he can and also enter the NFL draft. He can do both of those things. Mm-hmm. So he says that he will talk to people, and for me, what it sounds like when I hear him talk about this is that he wants to play football, but if the smart play is to play baseball, he would do that. So I think he's just going to gather as much information as possible. But again, I think this game against Alabama, I mean, that might be the barometer, right? That might be the litmus test for him. Like, if he tears it up, if they beat Alabama, I mean, he's all of a sudden the guy, right? So
yeah, and yeah, this is just the guy. Like, does that put much pressure on him when you're called the guy like this early, like at a young age like this?
No.
I
mean, maybe in a different time, but we live in a day and age where these kids, like LeBron, for example, they've been like the dude.
I feel
for a
old
while.
when we were allowed to call them kids because we're both older than them.
You know what I mean, though? Like,
I know what you mean.
They've been the dude for so long. They've been on the cover of magazines. They've been on the front page of Rivals.com. Like, this is 4 or 5 years in the making for them.
The most popular website, Rivals.com. I know.
It is for
I just love you go from magazines like ESPN Magazine to Rivals.com.
Yeah, or I mean Scout.com and all that. But I got to ask you, this is an interesting conversation. We just talked about the Jaguars for a minute. What if Kyler Murray and Dwayne Haskins go in the NFL draft? Then this quarterback class all of a sudden becomes a lot prettier, let's be honest, than what we're looking at. We
might see a lot of trades going up into the first and second overall picks to get a quarterback.
Dwayne Haskins can come. So can Kyler. The only one who can't is Tua because he's a true sophomore. But the other two quarterbacks...
He's truthful about his sophomore. He didn't lie about it.
Yeah, he's not lying to anybody.
What if instead of a redshirt sophomore he's a lying sophomore?
Isn't that crazy, though? Because we just said, man, this isn't the draft to draft a quarterback. Well, if Kyler Murray...
As of right now.
Exactly.
As of right... Well, okay. All due respect to Justin Herbert.
I got a question.
Okay.
Because we've been assuming Kyler Murray's going to play baseball. Mm-hmm. But why isn't Haskins being talked about as being the number one quarterback? Like, why is he so far down on Mel Kiper's big board? He's like the third or fourth quarterback. This dude might be the best passing quarterback in college football. He led the nation in passing. He's a pocket passer, and he's got wheels. He's probably the best quarterback Ohio State ever had. And we're not even talking about him as being the number one pick. I don't understand that.
I'm going to answer that question with another question. How good is this defensive class right now?
It's extremely good, but it's always a quarterback-driven league.
And the top picks already have their quarterbacks.
Right.
Look at the three.
But I'm talking about big board. Big board is just on not based on
I know
needs,
he's fourth. I know you're talking about it, and it's almost like a travesty. I get that. But he's not flashy as the others. You know what I mean?
He's pretty flashy.
Well, no. He plays great, but he doesn't have that, like, I don't know, that superstar, that famous factor.
I just don't understand how maybe the most exciting quarterback in college football who can throw the football is not regarded as the number one quarterback. Maybe not the number one pick, but the number one quarterback.
Well, and also the big board is also for, like, NFL ready. And maybe
I agree with that.
Maybe Mel Kiper doesn't think he's NFL ready.
But I look at him and I see a guy who can throw the football. And we saw a guy like Josh Allen last year, who I didn't think was NFL ready. He went 13th to Buffalo. I don't know. It just seems odd to me. I don't get it. When I watch him play, I think, wow, this is a great quarterback. When I see Justin Herbert play for Oregon, I think, wow, this is also a really good quarterback. I just don't know, I guess, what some of these scouts see differently.
I think they're just looking at comparing them to an NFL defense. I think they're when you scout, you can't see, like, you can't look at who they're playing and say, oh, he can do the exact same thing in the NFL. You got to put in NFL math, if you will. Does that make sense?
I get it. And people will question, like, it's always going to be like, oh, this quarterback can do this or this quarterback can do that. But the fact of the matter is that they're prospects. And a guy like Cam Newton, when he came in the NFL, he couldn't make a lot of the throws. He couldn't do a lot of things that I guess traditional pocket passers could do, yet he's found a way to make it work. So It's just kind of something I've been
maybe they should read more books. What do you think? And with books, sometimes you're on the road, you can't always read. But I got an idea for you. Audible right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month.
Do they got books on quarterbacks?
They might. They probably do.
They have
like almost an unlimited list. Let's get real. And you give yourself the gift of listening. And while you're at it, think about giving the gift of Audible to someone on your list. For more, go to audible.com/GSMC book or text the code GSMC book to 500-500. That's 500-500. With this code, you will get your first audiobook free along with 2 selected Audible original titles, only exclusive to them, and exclusive fitness programs when you start a 30-day trial. So take the time to listen on Audible. Just visit audible.com/GSMC book or text the code GSMC book to 500-500 to get started.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, sports fans. That sounded like an ad. Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We just finished talking about Thursday night.
What do you call a pony with a sore throat?
I was doing something, dude. Come on. Let me do my job first.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. We were talking about Thursday Night Football and Heisman. Okay, go.
What do you call a pony with a
sore throat?
Sony.
A
little horse. You can proceed.
I hereby sign my resignation from this podcast. I can't even say that straight face.
I'm holding my hand up like I just hit a 3, you know?
Yeah, well, someone just rejected it.
I just walked over like Iverson over Toronto.
Yeah, no.
A little
you
horse,
just got
dude.
tripped.
Get it?
Stop,
a little
just
horse?
Stop.
All right.
Stop. It's bad.
Can we talk about basketball?
Yeah, we should actually have like a 5 minutes of silence for the worst joke ever on this podcast.
That was a good joke.
No, it wasn't.
I think we should do dad jokes to start every segment.
I think we shouldn't. I think you got to actually have a good dad joke. That was not
little horse?
Mine was funnier. Sony.
No, that's stupid.
A pony with a sore throat. Sony.
Yeah, no, that doesn't even make sense. It's just the name of a brand.
It's better than a little... Never mind.
Anyways.
Going on, we are talking about the National Basketball Association. There was some excitement.
3 games last night. Not too many on the slate.
But there were some news happening with those games, especially in Utah, where in the first, 3 minutes of the game, their best defensive player, Rudy Gobert, getting ejected very early after what seemed to be like a flop from Harden.
Yeah, but he lost his cool, hits the chalk off the table, and, you're on your way, buddy.
Yeah, it seemed, but he was also cursing at the ref, which I think also was the main reason. I don't know. It just seemed like was it a premature ejection, do you think, or do you think it was a rightful ejection?
I mean, he kind of showed up the ref. I get it. It's not usual from him, so maybe they were a little quick to toss him,
He always seems to keep a level head. He doesn't. Yeah. He's not that one of those players that just. He's not like a DeMarcus Cousins, where he gets in the face of refs all the time.
You're not waiting for him to overreact, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, the Jazz win though, 118-91. They led almost the entirety of this game, even with Rudy Gobert having a bit of a temper tantrum. But man, that third quarter for the Rockets, they were outscored 38-11. Isn't that ridiculous?
38, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Almost
actually.
Phoenix Suns level bad. We'll get into more of that later, but we got to talk about this, Jeff. I'm going to straight up ask you: are the Rockets a bad basketball team? I'm not even talking about a playoff team. Are they just not a play? Are they a bad basketball team? They're 11-13. We keep waiting for them to turn the corner. They're not turning the corner.
I don't know.
They've lost to the Timberwolves and the Jazz back-to-back now.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Bulls before that. They beat the Warriors. I don't know what to make of this team. They beat the Warriors a couple weeks ago. That looks like it might have been a fluke. We've seen them lose to the Mavericks, the Wizards. They lost to the Cavaliers 2 weeks ago. Talk to me, Jeff. Is this team bad or what?
I don't know.
I think they're bad. I'm writing them off.
You're writing them off right now.
I had them as my 3 seed to start the season. They were going to be my 3 seed in the Western Conference playoffs. I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I think they're a bad basketball team. And to be honest, what's going to happen if Harden has to miss a few games or Paul gets hurt again? I don't know, man. I think they're missing too much from last year. That defense that they played last year was actually pretty good. Luke Mbamute, Ariza, Anderson, those guys are not coming back.
Yeah.
Carmelo was a bust and a half. I don't know what they thought they were going to get with him or why they thought he was going to add to that team. But this is a Chris Paul, James Harden team that is under 500.
Yeah, it's also one of those things in where, this team has all the star power in the world, basically, and yet it's not delivering. So what is more important, the chemistry, or is it the star power that wins you games?
Well, I think it's just the lack of defense. If they're not hitting shots every night, if Harden is not going off and Paul's having a good game, it's really hard for them to score. They're not scoring at the same pace, obviously, but defensively they're just giving up points left and right. I mean, I don't think you can win like that. And, we can talk about if the Timberwolves or if the Kings or if the Nuggets or whatever teams are for real in the West. The thing is, though, is that these teams are good teams. Even if you don't think they're going to make the playoffs, all of them, they're tough teams every night. The Spurs are currently the second worst team in the Western Conference. We're talking about a team with Greg Popovich.
Well,
Like,
didn't we see that coming though after losing all those players and losing Kawhi? Like losing
Yeah,
Kawhi was
no,
felt
we saw them struggling, but I mean, it's tough for a Rockets team not to. If you're not good, you're not going to have a winning record in the West. That's just period.
Yeah.
It's not the Eastern Conference, you know.
Yeah, but it's just it just seems like there's a changing of the guard in the West coming up soon rather than later.
I mean,
Maybe not the guard, but like the top, like the middle of the pack.
Houston is scoring 108 points a game. That's pretty mediocre. That might actually be a little.
But that's
bit
like
below average.
impressive though. In a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but not in today's NBA. And
Yeah.
then they're giving up 110, so they're negative. They have a negative point differential. I mean,
A negative point differential, eh?
yeah, they're giving up more points than they score, so that's not going to get it done.
Yeah.
Anyways, why don't we talk about the other games that happened last night? There weren't too many of them. There were only 3. But can we talk about the Phoenix Suns and their quest to be the worst team that I've ever seen?
Sure.
They lose 108 to 86. They had another start to a game. This is 2 games in a row for them. Against Sacramento, they were down 36-9 after 1. They were down 34-9 after 1 yesterday. They had 5 points entering the last minute of the first quarter. This is some like next level bad. Like, we talk about bad basketball teams. How bad are you if you score 9 points in a quarter and you've done it 2 games in a row?
Yeah, and like we said, the Suns are. Would you call them like you said the worst team we've ever seen?
I said that they're on their quest. They're on this quest to be the worst team that I've ever seen. I mean, this is like mind-bogglingly bad. Like they had 5 points in the last minute of the first quarter yesterday. 5.
Yeah.
Jeff, me, you, and 3 random dudes off the street could probably score at least 7 or 8 points in a quarter in the NBA because at some point these shots just have to go in, right? Like
They don't have to.
the crazy thing is they didn't even lose by the biggest margin last night, which is mind-boggling to me. But
Yeah.
so they lose to the Blazers. The Blazers needed that win as they've been in a free fall lately. 108 to 86. I know Devin Booker was out, but man, this Suns team, is somebody on their way to getting fired or what's going on? I know their coach is first year, but
Should they just like hit the nuke self-destruct button? The whole team just disintegrates and goes to Seattle.
I mean, you just can't keep doing this.
Yeah. This is just a.
Fans are going to stop showing up. It's going to get ugly, you know. So-
I'm surprised they even get fans there in general.
I think the novelty of DeAndre Ayton is good right now, and then it'll wear off.
And he went to University of Arizona, so he went probably to the best place for publicity because he's known there. Mm-hmm. But the fact remains, this team feels like it's just going nowhere fast. I don't see a future. I can see them in the next 10 years still being at the bottom.
Boston won last night, 128-100. New York Knicks are now 8-18. The Celtics are 14-10. Knicks are a terrible basketball team. They continue to be so. Are you looking forward to any games this weekend in the NBA?
This weekend?
Yeah, because I can tell you that tonight there is a very interesting game. The Warriors and the Bucks play tonight on ESPN. I am very interested in seeing how that goes. Pelicans-Grizzlies should be a decent game, too. 76ers-Pistons could have a little bit of fireworks in that game.
What about the Heat and the Suns?
That's like an oxymoron. Get it? Of course they're the Heat, because they're in the sun.
They both should combine. Like, they should do the fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z and become
They're
even
doing
hotter.
The Spider-Man meme where they're looking at each other, pointing the fingers like, we're the
Oh my
Heat,
god!
we're the sun.
I've never noticed until now how closely resembled their teams are, basically based off the name.
Yeah, I really didn't either until
No?
you said Heat and Suns. Then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wait a minute.
Wait,
that
that's the
sounds
same
weird.
thing, basically.
What do you mean? They're two different teams, you know?
Yeah. And I honestly love teams that don't have like when they don't have an S at the end of their name, like the Magic, the Thunder, and the Heat. It's like, oh, that's unique because
there are
there's
9 of those teams in the 4 major American sports. I'll let you figure that out on another time. But there are 9 teams in the 4 major sports in the United States where a team mascot does not end in an S.
so football, basketball, baseball,
And hockey.
And hockey. Got
Yes.
it.
We don't need to do it now because you'll literally spend like 5 minutes thinking about it, and nobody wants to hear us think. So,
no one wants to hear us think. Okay, that makes sense.
But I'll let you ponder on that one later on. Why don't we take a break, though? But before that, man, I got to talk to you about a gift for the holidays, and that is Audible. Right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. That's more than half off the regular price. You got to go to audible.com/GSMC book, or you got to text GSMC book to 500-500. That's 500-500. Again, for listeners of this show, the GSMC Sports Podcast. So go ahead and do that now. What can you expect from Audible? Well, I mean, you're talking about audiobooks that inspire us, motivate us, bring us closer. There's no better place to listen than Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, and now Audible members get more than ever before. Each month, they get 3 titles of their choice: an audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and fitness programs that they can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. Try it for free for 30 days by visiting audible.com/GSMC book, or again, you can text GSMC book to 500-500. We'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We've talked football, we've talked basketball. Let's go back to football because we have some games to talk about that are happening this Sunday on television.
Wow, is there an echo in here?
Kind of.
I thought this place was soundproof, but hey.
It's Week 14 matchup, so I think we should start with probably the Sunday night game that's happening.
You want to just get that one out of the way, huh? You don't want to lead up to it? I mean, isn't that like the game of the week? That's why it's been flexed.
Well,
why don't we start off with the weaker games, like the Jets-Bills? Come on.
Do we want to talk about this game?
Yeah.
It's going to be boring.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
Bills are going to win because Josh Allen. That's all I have to say.
We don't have to talk about it. I'm already bored.
Yeah, okay. Bills win. Who do you think is going to win? Bills or Jets?
Give me the Bills. Give me the Bills.
So we both say Bills. Okay, moving on very quickly.
Yes.
We have a Colts team versus a very hot, maybe the most hot team in football, Houston Texans.
Okay. It's a good game.
Texans are on a 9-game winning streak, which is the most right
They are. Colts
which
got
is
embarrassed.
Currently the most active streak right now. And I mean,
Colts were shut out against the Jaguars 6-0 last game. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, and the Texans are no slouch.
I have a fact for you.
Okay.
If you don't score, you can't win.
No duh.
Yeah, well, that's a fact. So, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
All right, so you like Texans or Colts?
Texans or Colts? Give me Texans, man. Keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I don't see the Colts winning this game. They're coming off a bad game.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's just one of those things in where that's just how the cookie crumbles when you're that good and that momentum.
And that's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? Falcons, Packers, let's go.
Give me the Packers.
Yeah, what's going on in this game? We'll see. Joe Philbin is his first game in charge for the Packers. Maybe the Falcons win. Maybe the Falcons win. I'll take them.
Maybe.
How about Ravens, Chiefs? That's a really good game. I think that's the best morning game.
Okay.
Who do you like in that one? Chiefs are at home.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs. I know they lost Kareem Hunt, but it's still the Chiefs.
I like the Chiefs at home just because I don't think the Ravens can score to keep pace with the Chiefs, and I think that the Chiefs will score. Yes, the Ravens have a great defense, but hey, it is an offensive league, and you know what? It's going to be tough for the Ravens to play from behind. Give me the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. All right, what we got next? Saints, Bucks.
Saints, Bucks.
Yeah, Drew Brees and the boys coming off a loss. The Bucks are hot right now.
I know, but it's still the Saints. Give me the Saints.
I say the Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Jameis and the boys.
That's actually quite surprising.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe not. Let's move on. Patriots, Dolphins. The Dolphins, they've had Tom Brady's number lately. I think they've won 5 of the last 7 against the Patriots.
Really now?
Do you think they can do it again?
Maybe.
Tom Brady's actually had trouble winning in Miami. I know that is a weird thing to say, but that is the one team in that division where he has not just dominated them. Like, yes, he still has a winning record against the Dolphins, don't get me wrong, but at least the Dolphins have had some success, whereas the Bills and the Jets are just like, how do you do this? How do you beat him?
I don't know this question. I give up.
Do you think maybe it's the sun in Miami that gets in his eyes? Who knows? I don't know. So who do you like in this game?
Give me...
Come on, man. Spit it out.
No, you say it first.
All right, I got the Patriots. I'm not picking no Brock Osweiler to win, or not Ryan Tannehill. It doesn't matter. They're the same. So what do you think?
Yeah, give me the Patriots. I mean, Ryan Tannehill versus...
All right, how about Panthers-Browns? Panthers have been in a free fall, my friend. A free fall. They're like Tom Petty.
Ooh. Ouch.
R.I.P.
That kind of...
It's a good song, though, man. Free falling.
I know, but still, it's too soon.
Not to be confused with what you do when you're not wearing underwear. Free...
You mean Commando?
No, free...
Free... I only know the saying of going Commando.
Free falling, free...
And I'm free falling now.
Never mind. All right, anyways, Panthers, Browns, who do you got? We got to keep it moving.
I don't know. This one's kind of hard to
Man,
look
it's a
at.
Baker day. I'm going Cleveland all day.
You're going Cleveland. You know what?
Yeah.
I will agree with you and go Cleveland also.
They're at home. All right. So, how about them Giants and the Redskins?
Giants and the Redskins.
Yeah, Redskins at home with Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez versus Eli Manning. Are you excited? Woohoo! You sound really stoked about it. I'm going to say that the Giants win.
You do. You say the
Giants
Giants win.
What are you going to say?
I don't know. The Giants winning is kind of weird. I know they're coming off a upset of all things considered, and the Redskins are
with Mark Sanchez.
True.
So who do you got?
And the Redskins are coming off something would say they're downhill. And so I'll give it to the Giants. I'll get an upset Giants right now.
All right, let's move on. Bengals, Chargers.
Bengals,
Chargers all day. Do we need to talk about this? Are you going to take the Bengals?
Yeah.
You mean no?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next game. Eagles, Cowboys. There we go. That's a game. We saw that linebacker for the Eagles call out the Cowboys, said they're going to choke. He said they're going to him and his boys in Philly are going to make the Cowboys choke. How do you feel about that? And what do you think? Who's going to win this game?
Who's going to win this game? Now, that is a question. I'm going to go with the latter.
Who's that?
The home team. You got to go home field advantage in this one.
All right, Cowboys. All right,
go.
Raiders.
And look at this. The Cowboys did beat the Saints at home. That's why I'm saying go with the home team.
I think the Cowboys do win again. They don't choke. Maybe not today, but they will eventually. Steelers, Raiders.
And Steelers, Raiders. Give me Steelers. Well, this is Steelers.
Hey, you never know, man. The Steelers, they are going across the country. The Raiders had a lot of points.
Reception 2, calling it.
I don't think it's such an easy game for the Steelers. I think they win, but I think it's close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You're giving a lot of faith in the Raiders.
Well, they kept it close within a touchdown last week to the Chiefs, who I think are a better team than the Steelers. You never know.
Okay, fair enough.
Lions, Cardinals. Matt Stafford's a little banged up. It looks like he's going to play. Cardinals, Christian Kirk is out for the year. This looks like an ugly football game.
I'm going to say a 0-0 tie.
A 0-0 tie. That would be the first in history, I believe.
Would you be surprised if that actually happened in this game?
I would be completely shocked if a football game, no matter at any level, ended in a 0-0 tie.
Fine. Give me a 3-3 tie.
Okay. I will say the Cardinals will win. They're at home. The Lions are just reeling at this point. I think they're just waiting for the offseason.
Both these teams are just bad.
No Kerryon Johnson. That says it all for me. So, last game of the night. We could talk about this for a minute. Rams,
Finally.
Bears.
This is what I wanted to talk about.
The Rams are
and
at
Bears.
Chicago. This is an interesting game as we see a clash of teams here. One is a more defensive-minded team, Chicago
An
Bears.
elite defense versus an elite offense.
What gives
Something's...
here?
Oh, you know, once you took it away, so I was going to say something's got to give.
And what will give?
And
Besides
I think,
my knee if I stand up too quickly.
Are you okay, man?
I'm good.
Do you have actual knee problems?
Oh, I've played sports all my life, so I got lots of knee
I
problems.
have too. I don't have a knee problem. Whatever. Regardless.
Well, it's hard to have knee problems when you're sitting on the sideline. Hey, so who
that's
do you
a
like
really,
in this
actually
game?
really mean thing to say. But regardless, I'm not going to answer that question. But I will answer this. The Rams are the best team in the NFL right now.
Are they?
They are.
Gun to your head, you still say
Yes.
that. Okay.
And I'm saying
And by gun, I meant water gun.
they
guys.
prove that by beating one of the best defenses in the NFL in the Chicago Bears.
Oh, boy. You know what? This is going to be a good game. I like what I'm seeing with these teams. You know what?
Don't jinx it. I meant jinx it as in it's going to be a good
I
game.
think the Bears might win this game.
I'm not saying it's not going to be a blowout or anything.
This is a hard one to pick, huh?
It's a very tough one. Like 8-4 doesn't do them justice.
No, it doesn't. And I'm just like thinking of envisioning the two teams on the field. And I'm like, man, these teams kind of match up well with each other. Possible playoff matchup we could see in maybe the second round of the playoffs or so. But I think I'm going to take the Bears in an upset. I think we'll see a high-scoring game. I like Mitch Trubisky to come back and lead that offense to score some points. But you never know. Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald, we have a matchup of maybe the two best defensive players in the world facing off on the same field. That'd be fun. I'm excited about that. You know, Aaron Donald, man, he's close to breaking that sack record. I think he's like 3 away.
And he's only played...
There's 4 games left.
How many games has he played? Like
He missed the first 4, right?
So he's played 16. Wow, good math, Jeff. He's played 10 games, maybe.
Yeah, he's just insane.
So if he add 4 more games to the season plus another, add it to the week 17. Like go to week 21, random example. He breaks the record.
He could absolutely break the record. So he has 16.5 right now. That's insane.
So he needs about 3.5, 4.
Yeah, 21.
You want to play 21?
I believe it's 21.
I thought it was 22.
Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, look it up. And while you're looking
It's
up...
22.5. Michael Strahan. Yep, 22.5.
22
You're right.
and a half. And hope maybe he will break it by end of the
So
season.
he needs 6 sacks. And he's got 4 games to do it. He's on pace.
He can do it.
If he gets a couple this week.
Rob Schneider says you can do it.
All right, so we got to go to a break.
Yes, we do. When we come back, we'll talk about any other beats and pieces in the sports world that we need to discuss, and we'll be right back right after this. Don't go away.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC podcast, sports podcast. We're in our final stretch in this last segment. We have something to talk about regarding the Big Ten Conference, and they're talking about getting rid of the divisions and just making it an all-conference and best two in the conference play each other in the championship game. What do you think of this?
I think it's a smart move. I think what we'll see is a more notable game in that championship, and you could get a rematch of like Ohio State, Michigan, things like that. I think it just opens up the doors. It brings a light to the conference, and honestly, that's what they need right now. This conference, the Big Ten, it's fallen behind. Conferences like the SEC, for example, they get all the love, they get all the attention. There's some big teams out there in the Big Ten, so I do like this idea. What do you think about it?
I do like it. We saw a very underwhelming championship game regarding the Northwestern, I don't even know their name, their mascot, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. And so I think, and if it was to be all conference, I think we would have saw a Michigan-Ohio State rematch, and I think that would have been way more interesting than Northwestern, all due respect to Northwestern. But I think that gives Michigan another opportunity to make the playoffs. There's so many more. This really affects the college football playoff in a good way. Mm-hmm. And hope maybe a Big Ten team doesn't get snubbed again, because it's been like 4 years in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a good thing if they do make this move to eliminate the divisions. I don't see any problem with it. I don't see how this could be negative whatsoever. So let's go back to the NFL. Did you hear that Kelvin Benjamin, he has found a new home, Jeff? Do you know where he's going?
Where is he going?
Kansas City.
Really?
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem like an Andy Reid type of receiver to me.
It doesn't, actually. Not at all.
Yeah, so I don't know what to say about that. Do you think he'll do anything notable for this team? I mean, maybe not this week, but do you think that his addition will actually help them maybe in a key moment, like a playoff game?
Well, you never know. He's always he hasn't had the best of luck in the playoffs. Maybe this is something that he can really what's the word I'm looking for? He can really be unpredictable and maybe come out on top this time.
Do you think that at this point, though, I mean, we're talking about a guy who has the lowest catch rate in the NFL on targets. He doesn't get open. He's not fast. He is seemingly overweight, although I'm not a nutritionist, but you know what I mean. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like he really brings anything. Maybe a red zone option. He
is also kind of a troubled head. You know what I mean? He's just kind of a nutcase in some cases.
Yeah. I don't know about him. His attitude, I think, is a problem. But hopefully he can add something to that team. If you're a Chiefs fan, of course, we will see. So, Red Sox have re-signed Nathan Eovaldi to a 4-year, $68 million contract. He really came through for them in the playoffs. Do you like this move for the Red Sox, keeping him in Boston?
Hey, they had such a great season last year and they won the World Series. Why not keep the guys that got you there?
Yeah? Is that what you think?
Yeah.
Just keep the band together?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean,
that scared the crap out of me. I did not expect. I thought my phone went off or something. I got scared.
Oh, man.
Don't do that again.
Sorry.
I was not ready. I was not mentally ready.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, he could bring something to the table. Who knows? I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, he's a good pitcher. If he can pitch like he did last year, he's going to be a fantastic player to keep in Boston. But, he's had some ups and downs, so we'll see. This is kind of a contract that can ultimately be a bad thing, but I'm cool with it. I think it's good. So what do you got for this weekend, Jeff? What are your plans? You going to go hang out with the boys or what?
Yeah, it's a pretty good chance, actually. I will be. Or might be on a date. Who knows?
Ooh, another date?
Different person.
Okay.
Possibly. This is possible. I'm not sure if this is actually going to happen or not.
Is this plenty of fish type thing, or?
It's one of those things just where, why not just, it's okay. Maybe why not? Maybe not the best word, but
okay.
Really just branching out there. Trying to find love, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a wife. I've been single for, let's see,
do you take one of those
23
surveys?
Years now.
Did you take one of those surveys?
No, I don't do that kind of stuff. But
okay.
I mean, I've been single for 23 years. I think it's time to, meet somebody.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I completely understand, man.
Do you? Because how long have you been with your wife?
We've been together for 4 plus 5, almost 5 years.
So you don't know. You don't know what it's like.
What do you think? I've never been single before? You think I was born married?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're 5 years old.
That's weird.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us. I think we're done here.
So what do you say we convene on Monday?
Yeah, and I'll make sure I break your phone before you come back again. See you Monday, everybody.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.